Week 1 of college football in the books for the University of Alabama. Head coach Bobby Petrino and the Louisville Cardinals came out talking. Nick Saban and the Crimson Tide handled that business, dismantled, embarrassed Louisville by the score of 51-14 at Camping World Stadium in Orlando, Florida, which means once and for all, do not come for Alabama. Do not come for Nick Saban unless you know beyond a shout of a doubt you are going to beat this program. In the case of the Louisville Cardinals, that did not happen. You are locked and loaded onto In My Own Words, the podcast, hottest show, hottest form of conversation, hottest podcast in terms of Crimson Tide football. Touchdown, Alabama Magazine's own Stephen Smith here with you. Brand new week, brand new segment of shows. I was not able to get into my predictions to end last week's segment of shows. We'll dive into that more so this week. And the topics I'm going to be hitting you with today, I'm giving out my MVPs, my 5 most valuable players from the Alabama-Louisville matchup. That's number 1. Number 2, I'm explaining to the Crimson Tide fan base, do not overreact with how the defense played against Louisville. The play calling of Tosh Lapoy saw a lot of good things over the weekend. Do not overreact on how the defense played. And then number 3, getting into those predictions. 5, I'm picking against the spread. 5, I am picking straight up. Starting this thing off, MVPs, most valuable players for the Crimson Tide from its matchup against the Cardinals. At number 1, safety Deionte Thompson. I've mentioned this once before. During last season, the general consensus was the light bulb finally came on for Thompson during the college football playoff. That was not the case. The light bulb been on for this young man. He was already made aware of everything. It was just that he needed a moment, an opportunity, a chance to show head coach Nick Saban and the fan base what he's about. And when Saban finally gave him the floor in the college football playoff, Thompson turned up, he embraced the moment, and he's taken that same swagger and channeled it into Saturday's game. I know he and Nick Saban both mentioned how diverse, how intelligent Shaheem Carter is, but Thompson's the undisputed leader. He is the undisputed voice of this defensive secondary. Against the Cardinals, 5 tackles, 1.5 tackles for loss, 3 pass breakups, a team high. Should have had 2 interceptions. He got 1 pick, should have had 2. The second one did not get a foot in bounds. But what impresses me the most about Thompson, he has got unbelievable range. His ability to go sideline to sideline, lateral quickness, cover some ground in the amount of seconds is unreal. His first pick came where he enters the camera at the last second. He comes from one side of the field, goes to the opposite hash mark, gets into the camera, undercuts the route, records the pick off the Juwan pass in the first half. The second play is a lot like the first play, coming from the other side of the field, just did not get a foot in bounds, but he's got tremendous range. To me, he is the most natural-looking safety Alabama has had in the Nick Saban era since Mark Barron. When you looked at Mark Barron, you saw pure safety. When you look at Deionte Thompson, you see the exact same thing. Pure safety from size is concerned, 6'2", size, athleticism, toughness, hard-hitting intangibles, intelligence, closing speed, the ability to track the football, cover ground. He checks all of those boxes in the same way Mark Barron was able to check all of those boxes. Deionte Thompson, he plays like this the entire season, He's a first-round pick bucket. Whether it's top 15, whether it's the bottom portion of the first round, depending on the draft needs for the upcoming 2019 draft, if he plays like this throughout the entire season, bucket, he is a first-round pick. Behind Thompson, Alabama secondary held Juwan Pass to a 51.3% completion clip. He played football. Number 2 MVP, from my standpoint, I look at defensive tackle, nose guard, Quinnen Williams, the sophomore. I had Quinnen Williams as one of my 5 guys on the clock for Alabama prior to facing Louisville, and the young man made me look like a genius, played outstanding inside at nose tackle, affecting Juwan Pass, not letting him get comfortable in the pocket as Alabama did a great job adjusting in the second half, and then also Williams helping Alabama limit Louisville's rushing attack to 16 yards. Williams, 6 total tackles, a team high, had 3.5 tackles for loss, also a team high, recorded a pass breakup and a quarterback hurry, consistently found himself in the backfield making plays. The Tide used to having those 300-pound big guys at nose guard, whether it was Terrence Cody, Jesse Williams, A'Shawn Robinson, Jaron Reed, big guys, Deron Payne. It's used to having those 300-plus guys. Quinnen Williams, more of a smaller look at 6'4", 289 pounds, yet and still got the job done. Aside from an offsides penalty he had, which kept a Louisville drive going, very pleased, very impressed with how Quinnen Williams played, affecting the pocket, making tackles for loss, having that Louisville offense that's usually pretty high potent stifled and trying to maneuver the football downfield. Number 2, give me Quinnen Williams. My number 3 most valuable player from the matchup, running back Josh Jacobs. He's back. He's 100%. You saw it for yourself. He totaled 112 all-purpose yards, including a 77-yard kickoff return touchdown in the second half. Jacobs, 45 yards rushing, averaged 7.5 yards a carry, a number that fell second to only Damian Harris, who had 7.9 yards a pop. Josh Jacobs, an 18-yard touchdown run where he goes off the right side, off Jedrick Wills at right tackle. You saw the burst, you saw the speed, you saw the explosion. Most importantly, you saw the excitement from the Alabama fans, from the players, from the coaching staff, because they know when Jacobs plays like this, when Jacobs is healthy, you cannot stop him, you cannot tackle him, you cannot get an angle on him. He is truly the Swiss Army knife of this program offensively when he plays like that. Going back to the kick return for a touchdown, he channeled his inner Kenyon the Road Runner Drake. You remember 2016 college football playoff title game against Clemson off the 15 season at University of Phoenix Stadium, Glendale, Arizona. Drake catches the kick cleanly, goes off the left side, takes it 99 yards to pay dirt. Josh Jacobs, Orlando, Florida, Camping World Stadium, fields the kick, takes it to the right side, goes 77 yards to the house, kind of stumbles and bumbles a bit at the 10-yard line, keeps his balance, goes in. Alabama scoring in that regard. Josh Jacobs back. Josh Jacobs healthy. When he's playing like this, he is very, very insanely fun to watch. He was my number 3 guy, impact player. Number 4, give it up for the freshman, Jalen the Human Joystick Waddell. What a football game he had. The closest thing that Alabama has had at wide receiver to be dangerous in all facets of the game. You remember 1992, David the Deuce Palmer. You could not contain him. Every time he touched the ball, it was must-see TV. Every time he touched the ball, you held that P in. you couldn't take a bathroom break. Because if you took a bathroom break, you were like, holy smoke, I just missed greatness. If you took a bathroom break on David the Deuce Palmer, you almost killed yourself because you was like, I just missed greatness happen on the field because I had to pee and David the Deuce Palmer's moving down the football field. It almost has that same effect with Jalen Waddell. Young man from Texas, 66 receiving yards over the weekend, finished second behind Deionte Smith, including a gorgeous 49-yard reception from Tua Tagovailoa to where Waddle at 5'10", $177, stretches out, goes full extension, brings the ball in with his fingertips, could have scored if he kept his footing on the play, slipped, fell down, but still, great catch. 3 receptions for 66 yards, had 80 punt return yards in the game for a grand total of 146 all-purpose yards. And the crazy thing about Waddle was the first couple of kicks, first couple of punts from Louisville, caught the ball cleanly, fair catch, fair catch, fair catch. It was about that 4th or 5th punt from Louisville, you start to see it from Jalen Waddle. 13 yards here, 15 yards here, 20 yards here, 25 yards here, 30 yards there. He kept Alabama on schedule with positive field position. Then came the big play where he busted one back, and if it were not for a flag on the play, Waddle would have given Alabama its first season opening matchup since Virginia Tech 2013, where the Tide would have had an offensive touchdown, a defensive touchdown, a kickoff for a touchdown, and a punt return for a score all in the same game. You remember 2013 where Bama scored on offense with A.J. McCarron, scored on defense with Benny Sunseri, taking a pick 6 off Logan Thomas to the house, and then Christian Jones, oh baby, had a field day. 74-yard punt return touchdown, came behind that with a 94-yard kick return to the house. So, Jalen Waddle, human joystick, if not for a flag on the play, would have given Alabama something it hasn't had since the 2013 season against Virginia Tech. But what a football game he had. All over the field, catching the football, speed to burn. He may be the closest thing to David Deuce Palmer Alabama has had in quite some time, and he's number 4. Last but not least, number 5 impact player, most valuable player from my end where Alabama is concerned against Louisville. We can call it right now. Some folks have already called it, but it's official right now. Tua Tagovailoa. Alabama fans, behold your quarterback. I have never been anti-Tua. I was never anti-Tua. My main thing with Tua was, could he come out in this game as the starter and establish the fact that I am not a one-trick pony, I am not just a one-pass quarterback, I am not just a one-half quarterback, I'm the complete package. Guess what? He did it. He showed it. He is the complete package. 12 of 16, very efficient, 75% completion clip, had 3 total touchdowns, and he did it in a variety of ways. Long passes, short passes, intermediate routes, moving the chain on 3rd down, an area in which Alabama has struggled tremendously in recent years. Under Tagovailoa, 10 of 15 on 3rd down, 66%. Very deceptive athleticism, not known as just a tremendous runner, but can get the job done with his legs. Very evasive, elusive in the pocket. Kind of has that Steve Young meets Johnny Manziel meets Fran Tarkenton meets Doug Flutie. That's what it is. Has that magic to keep his wits about him, keep the play alive, target guys downfield, and that connection between he, Deionte Smith, Jerry Jeudy, something else. Those guys know where they need to be at when number 13 is spinning the magic bean on the field. Jalen Hurts played okay. played all right, did some good things, but you watch Tua on the field, you see the energy's different. The vibe is different. It's the same vibe from the national championship game, and everybody has recognized it. Everybody has caught it. Everybody has jumped on the wave, and at this point, he's the guy. At this point, he is your man moving forward at the quarterback position. Nick Saban always wanted to mention how important balance is to an offense. Check this stat out. Tagovailoa near 230 passing yards at 227. Alabama's rushers near 230 yards at 222 and 3 touchdowns, keeping everything afloat. Along with that, the offense behind Tua, 519 yards racked up, and every time he was on the field, a touchdown scoring drive. Had a tremendous ball game. Running back to these again, 5 MVPs from over the weekend. Number 1, Deionte Thompson, safety. Number 2, defensive tackle, Quentin Williams. 3, running back, Josh Jacobs. 4, wide receiver, Jalen Waddell. 5, quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa. Coming up on the other side of the break, ladies and gentlemen, why you should not overreact with how the defense played against Louisville. They gave up some chunk plays, but why you should not overreact. And we dive into my breakdown of how Tosh Lupoi handled his first game as a defensive coordinator. We're coming back, folks. It's in my own words.